This episode is sponsored by seeing another driver do one of those little waves that says, I'm about to do something weird, so you better be prepared for anything.
This episode is also brought to you by your local Dunkin' drive-thru employee recognizing you by voice. This is Sorry for the Wait. Here we go! Fired up, ready to go. Welcome to the show, folks. This is Sorry for the Wait, a weight loss podcast for regular people by regular people. I am your host, Seth.
And I'm your host, Strawberry.
And here we are, man.
Here we are.
What a week.
Oh, oof.
Oof.
This has been like the oofiest week of all time.
Oof is right, and this is obviously going to come out on a Wednesday, but as we record this, and not to get into it, because I really just I don't want to get into it in too much scope, but we're recording this an hour after
they declared the winner.
Yeah, after President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris have been made official, and so of course the world is kind of watching everything right now. But you know what we decided to do is to just sit down on the ones and twos and make goofs.
Yeah.
And speaking of goops, speaking of
goop,
and call that a goof, we've got breaking foods. Breaking Foods is back.
I can't wait.
I feel
what's
like
going to happen here?
I feel like we've had so many Breaking Foods. Honestly, we've had a few in these past couple episodes.
It's been a very news-heavy week.
We might honestly just have to make like Breaking Foods
just like
an entire segment, honestly. But this one was sent in by a listener, Haley. So Haley reached out to us on Facebook, and this is a great one. I'm so happy that she sent this. So Haley, shout out to you. Thank you so much. The title of this article, right? Man banned from Yellowstone National Park after rangers catch him cooking chickens in the hot spring. Now, see, here's the thing. So pretty much just the synopsis of this article, park rangers found this dude and like his group of like 10 people like walking along. They were in like an area that they shouldn't have been, because at Yellowstone, I don't think you're allowed to get that close to the hot springs.
Definitely not within cooking distance.
That's super dangerous, dog. But so they came across this dude and was just cooking chickens right in the hot spring. And you know what? I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
chicken. You know,
here's the thing. Does it take like? I honestly don't even know where to start from there, because I feel like
so much to unpack.
I feel like when you're cooking it in a hot springs, number one, I mean, you're going to get more than just the water flavor there.
Right.
Is that like a feature?
Well,
is that what you're looking for?
Are
you looking for like an earthy kind of aftertaste with your chicken?
I think the new wave now is actually chicken with hints of sulfur. You know, it's just, you know what really seasons your food is sulfur.
Well, then just I don't know, get some rotten eggs and just put it all over that. I mean, that's really what you're looking for, right?
On the surface, though, I guarantee this dude was like, I really don't know what I did wrong. We were going on a long hike. You want to have some food.
I'm sure the guy's response...
Hence chicken.
I'm sure the guy's response when the park ranger came over and was like, you can't do that here. I'm sure he was just like, well, I thought this was America.
Yeah, or just the dude is just so aloof, just such a doofus, where the ranger's like, what are you doing, my dude? And that guy is just like, hail and well met, man. You want some chicken? And I just can't even imagine how you don't hurt yourself to the nth degree trying to cook. We can't I
feel like it's like cooking bacon without your shirt on.
Right, exactly. Like, I can't even cook chicken in a pan at home half the time. Like, imagine trying to use a hot spring and being like, yeah, this temperature seems up to date.
Honestly, the most the most anxious thing for me with the chicken is that chicken's one of those things that you want to make sure you cook thoroughly. You don't want to mess with that. And if I'm cooking chicken a different way, I can just Google how long should I put this chicken in the crock pot or whatever. But I don't know. Has there been any research for how long you have to cook chicken in a hot spring for it to not have any salmonella?
I wonder if he was like, you know what, let's just leave it in there and go explore around, and then we'll come back and the chicken will be done. But he is banned for life.
Okay.
Respectably, and he's gonna pay a hefty amount of fines, according to this article. It's going to be upwards of $15,000 in fines.
I hope that chicken tasted good, because that's an expensive chicken.
That's an expensive, dirty bird, you know? But Haley, thank you for sending in that incredible breaking foods. We really appreciate it. Let's just jump right into it. How was your week?
Honestly, it's been a very busy week for me, which I'm grateful for because, we already kind of mentioned all of the stuff going on this week in the news.
Yeah,
I'm glad that I really haven't had as much time to be glued into my TV screen and my phone as I normally would have, because, man, with that like swing of emotions have been really hard to handle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially as somebody recovering from it. Binge eating.
Yeah, I know. I think that's such a, I have that on my notes here too, that like the election kind of just shows like how many external forces can really shift your focus, especially when you're losing weight. Cause like the top searches, right? Like the top searches on election night were pizza near me, liquor stores near me, weed. Like, like those were some of the top things.
Coping mechanisms near me.
Right. Like people are just kind of you want to talk about emotional eating to the 47,000th degree. Like that's what it is. And so did you feel like you kind of had a good handle on that because you had so much going on?
Yeah, relatively speaking, for sure. I think overall this week, I think I've eaten, I think my food habits maybe have slidden back a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that with me too.
This was actually the first week where I let myself really have like a fast food meal.
Oh, interesting. What'd you go with?
I wanted to test the waters on that. I went to Burger King.
Yeah.
I just got I got one of the Whoppers, and I got a small fry and a small Coke.
Isn't that wild? I always think it's relative with you and I, because everyone's different, but like you and I can go around to somebody we don't know, or tell it to listeners that might not know us too personally and say like, yeah, I got a Whopper and a small fry. And people who don't know us would be like, what are you doing?
Like, is this your breaking news for the day?
Well, they're like, well, what are you doing even eating that? Whereas for us, we're kind of just like, well, look, we're finding a way to enjoy these things, because before it was a Whopper, 2 chicken sandwiches, 2 large fries, onion rings, and a regular Coke. Like those are kind of the things. And so,
well, I did have a regular Coke, which is unusual for me, because I think that's the first time I've had a non-diet soda in probably between 5 and 10 years.
That's wild. That's actually, you're burying the lead there.
But like, it's kind of because the way I'm thinking about it, I've always been envious of people that could just like, I don't know, drink a regular soda.
Yeah, just slam it. Yeah.
Because in my head, I always think like, well, I'm going to eat so many calories of other shit.
Yeah,
that
the
why
diet
expend the calories on the soda.
Right.
But like now I'm trying to get into this headspace of like eat like a normal person.
Right.
And like normal people do sometimes eat fast food.
Yeah, and normal looks different to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. But normal people also don't get stressed out by having a small Coke.
Right.
Instead of having to be like, oh no, it's not a Diet Coke.
Exactly.
So, and I gotta say, I definitely taste the difference. I kind of forgot what regular Coke tastes like.
Right. Which is like, so we're not trying to send a message like, fuck diet soda kind of thing.
No, but it's just, like, it was very bizarre. I was like not prepared for that, but it was like in a good way, obviously. And you know, I'm gonna check the scale a little bit before like Thanksgiving-ish to see what the last couple weeks have really done. Because like I said, I haven't really been weighing myself consistently. I kind of want to give myself some time to do a test run and see what does living life do to my weight on the scale.
And I think that speaks to kind of what we're doing, because like sometimes people kind of have not a hard time understanding what we're trying to do here, but like we're not. The reason kind of why we started this is because we're the anti-experts. Yeah. Like we go against, we want to follow as many of the best practices as we can, but we're not the type of people that you can sit there and say, well, you're never having fast food again. You're never doing this again. Because that just blows my mind, because that's not kind of who we are. We just want to find a way to live with it comfortably. And so like this is like, to me, I understand this as a big win for you. And I think a lot of big people will understand that as a big win, because most people can look at it and say, well, you just shouldn't be doing it in general. Well, it's like, well, you know what? You can kind of kindly get the hell out.
Well, and also, I mean, not for nothing, but I'm a very busy person right now.
Right.
And, you know, I don't exactly have the time to really just be sitting down and like spending hours every day just cooking food.
Right,
I kind of do have to take some shortcuts every now and then. So for me, it's like important that I want to learn how to take those shortcuts and not have it be detrimental.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Even if I learn at the end of this month, even if I step on the scale at the end of the month and it's like, oh, you've gained 10 pounds again. Like, am I going to feel happy about that? Absolutely not.
No.
But at least I'll be like, okay, so I know that didn't work. So back to the drawing board. Got to burn those 10 pounds off, and then we'll see what else we can try, you know? And
I think it's
work it out from there.
It's funny because that was the biggest thing for my week, honestly, was that I know that some of my things have slipped. I know that I'm exhausted still. It's almost like I feel like I haven't woken up. I just feel like I've been hit with a ton of bricks. And for me, like old me would have been like, the sky is completely falling. Like, and it's over, so let's just go back to doing what we were doing. But with this mindset of just saying that, like, weight loss is never really done, or like your health and wellness journey is never really done, it makes me feel a lot better about the fact that, like, things are kind of in a valley right now. And if things are in a valley, that means that they're like, it's not like, well, you're not going to finish the race, because the race is never really finished.
Right. It's not even a race.
Yeah.
I don't even think that analogy
and honestly,
really fits.
My big win of the week was that I pulled out the Ninja Foodie and used that shit. And so thank you to Lauren, my dietitian, Fuel Your Fit. Go follow it on Instagram. She sent me a Fiesta chicken recipe, and it was so funny the way it was laid out. It was literally just, here are the ingredients. Step 1, literally throw all the shit in the pot. Step 2, cook for 6 hours on low. And I was like, great.
That's a perfect recipe.
Fantastic.
Now it didn't have a 5,000 word essay about how much it meant to her.
Right,
first,
exactly. Which
because
is like
that's really what I need when I look up a recipe for something. I want to just know how.
I want to know how
it affects the person writing the recipe.
How did it evoke the emotion melancholy to you? That's what I hate about those recipes. I got to scroll all the way down just to see, like, just give me the ingredients, give me the time, and that's what I loved about this recipe. It was like, just open the shit, put it in the pan or put it in the pot and cook it.
Can I put out this, like, if there's anybody out there who actually enjoys the prelude to a recipe on any of these websites that happen nowadays, like, is there anybody out there who, like, does enjoy sitting down and just reading
the story and then ignoring the recipe? Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Who's that for?
I don't need 400 words on why chocolate chip cookies are good, you know?
That's like somebody being like, I really wish we were back when, like, blogs were a really popular thing, but they're not. So I guess I got to get these people while they're trying to find food.
It's all for SEO purposes. The more text you have in there, the more keywords, then people are going to probably find your stuff. But you know what? It's funny. I'm glad that I cooked, and it was so simple. Like, it's about,
and it tasted really good because I had a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's got a nice kick to it, and I'm just really happy with that. And so, like, positive strides are being made even when I feel like I'm feeling like I've been hit by a bus every now and again. But I've got time off coming up next week that I'm really excited to just kind of like recharge, reboot the batteries, and it'll be great. But you know what always gets me juiced up? It's the craving of the week. You know it, folks. It's Craving of the Week. Craving of the Week always gets me juiced up.
Craving of the week.
Of the week. And so, you know what? Let's hit it. Let's hit it hot. What do you got for me this week?
So, Seth, have you ever been sitting down to eat at work in front of your coworkers?
Absolutely.
And there's more to that.
Oh, no, but that alone, because I already got a pit in my stomach just thinking about that.
Well, and you're really hungry, but you want something that's maybe something that you feel like you would be judged for.
Okay.
And so you're like, how do I eat this without the judgment? Well, can I present to you the hidden cheesecake?
Ooh, hidden cheesecake.
Because in my head, I was like, why can't I just have a fucking cheesecake for lunch?
Yeah, why not? You know what? Do your dance. Why not?
Why not, right? So have your cheesecake, but you got to make sure that it doesn't look like a cheesecake.
Okay, fair.
So I'm picturing this cheesecake. You have it, normal cheesecake all around. You just want to make it square.
Right.
So that it doesn't, like, obviously pop out as a cheesecake.
Yep.
And then you frost the sides.
Okay.
And you're going to frost the sides so that from the outside, it just looks like a nice, big, thick sandwich.
Ooh.
Cut the sandwich right down the middle, chomp it. Yes, cheesecake is now finger food.
Yeah. It's just the mess factor is going to be unbelievable. And
so you're sitting there, you're chomping on this little cheesecake, and everybody's just like, he seems to really be enjoying that BLT.
Yeah. And you know what? Good for him. Lettuce and tomato,
Exactly. And no one's any the wiser.
This is such a good point that you're making, because I never understood why, like, the people who do, like, Cake Boss and stuff, like, don't really lean into the idea of just creating cakes that are, like, because the Cake Boss cakes are massive. But why not, like, go more on the smaller scale of everyday looking food items or everyday like, what about, like, you know what I mean? You could do this with so many things now. Oh my God, my mind's racing right now. What if you had, like, a cheesecake, like, looking apple? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are so many things that you could just make to look like regular shit.
I think with an apple, you'd also have to maybe give it some sort of crunchy thing in the cheesecake,
right,
so that when you bite into it, it has that nice little, like,
and I think people right now are thinking, like, so is it like an apple cheesecake?
No, red velvet,
no,
of course.
Exactly.
Or, like, carrot cake, or any of the other, like, wonderful flavors of cheesecake.
Let's just start making cheesecakes that just look like regular everyday food items. And then whammo. I really like that. I think that this is a billion-dollar business that I'm
you.
shocked that nobody has pursued yet.
Yeah. So again, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna steal our idea, that's great. Just give us credit for it.
Yeah, just a little bit of cred, or
And
write
maybe
us,
like 1% stake in the
give
company.
us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll call it even. But I really do like that this week, and it's funny. Mine's magical.
Okay.
Mine's magical, and kind of, I'm like, for me, it feels like it's in the same realm, but
Well, I'll be the judge of that. So why don't you lead off with yours?
I want to introduce you to the chocolate hollow chest. Okay.
Ooh.
So do you remember, like, always around like Easter time, you would get like the hollow chocolate bunny? Like have you ever seen those? It's like the
Easter. You mean Passover's younger brother?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
No,
I mean,
I don't.
not that you ever celebrated Easter, but you've seen those. Like, you've seen like the chocolate.
I've seen
hollow
the chocolate
bunnies.
bunnies. I didn't know that they're hollow.
Most of them are hollow, and so like they're pretty tall. Like some of them are like a foot
Why
tall.
would you have hollow chocolate? I know I'm getting off track here, but why would you take chocolate out? Like, what's the point of not having chocolate there?
Because these things are pretty big, so like it's more of just like you're biting into like a solid bunny that's massive. I think it's really more so just for kids, not to give them immediate diabetes, but just
That's
like
lame.
It's almost like a delayed release of of heartburn pills. It's just delayed diabetes. But so for me, I loved these like hollow chocolate bunnies growing up.
Okay.
My sister and I would get them all the time, and all I could think of was like, man, the hollow chocolate's actually pretty nice because it's not too heavy. Like it's easy to consume. I kind of like that. So the chocolate hollow chest looks like just any other chest, but whatever you throw in there, whatever you put in this chest instantaneously turns into a hollow chocolate form of itself.
Oh.
So like you just have this chest, and like what if you just need that quick chocolate fix, right? Oh man, like I've got like extra pencils right next to me. I'm gonna just throw those in there.
Ooh,
Extra
a chocolate pencil.
Right, and then it's just a hollow chocolate form of itself. Like, think how good it would be for house cleaning. Like, you've got extra trash, you've got cardboard you don't want to take down.
You've
You've got the newspaper.
You've just solved our trash crisis. No more landfills. Just throw it out into the
chocolate hollow chest takes care of it for you, and it's delicious.
and then eat it.
Imagine like reading the Times. Like you're like, oh man, what am I gonna do with the fucking New York Times now? Into the chest, and now it's a snack. Like, there are so many applications here now.
I'm looking at my water bottle that's sitting on our table, and I'm thinking, man, if this was made of chocolate, I could like fill it with like milk and then like drink it and eat it
Exactly.
at the same time.
Great for house cleaning, terrible for blood sugar. But I mean, there are so many applications here, but you know what? There are some drawbacks with any great invention. Like, don't accidentally put your valuables in there. You know what I mean? Like, imagine
honey,
moving.
You don't want to know what I just did to our wedding ring.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're moving houses, and someone's just like, yeah, I'll just throw this shit in this chest. Wedding rings, passports,
keys.
Yeah, like the
good luck getting into your Toyota.
Yeah, the deed to your goddamn house. Like, could you imagine putting the keys to your car and then they just go into your pocket, just melt immediately?
I'm just gonna put this winning lottery ticket in the chest for
Oh
safekeeping.
God! And then you never eat it. You just kind of bring it, and you're like, "Is this still valid? I signed it in icing on the back." Like, but the chocolate hollow chest, I think it has viability. I think it's a viable invention, and so
we just need to get the magic working to make it, possible.
Right, exactly. So I am fielding any and all inquiries, Shark Tank-esque, for a minority stake in my company, Chocolate Hollow Chest.
Maybe we could use all of that like hidden cheesecake money to fund the research for this.
Yeah, I like that. And so that's another Craving of the Week, folks. If you want to submit your Craving of the Week, SFTWSubmissions@gmail.com. But hey, I remember you were yelling about this when we were writing. Do you have a Breddit and Butter for me?
I do have a Breddit and Butter for you, Seth.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
I'm honestly very excited too, because I think we're gonna have a little bit of fun with this one here. So this is coming from Ask Reddit, where somebody asks a question and Reddit answers.
Okay, so it's just like a big hodgepodge of call and response kind of thing.
Yep. So one question, several answers.
Hell yeah.
So the question is, what are your weird food eating habits?
Okay.
And let me tell you, Seth, a lot of people out there have some weird...
Do we got some bingos here?
We have some really weird ones.
We got some bingos?
So let's start a little light. We're going to start with nectarines.
Nectarines, ooh. Something I don't eat enough of.
Me either, honestly. So this is how this user's wife eats nectarines. Step 1. Gently mash up the fruit so that it resembles a limp scrotum, but the skin is still perfectly intact. Now, if you still have an appetite, let's keep going on here. Number 2, bite a tiny snip into the skin of the nectarine. Step 3, slurp out the mushy entrails of the nectarine.
God, you sadist.
Step 4, when empty, roll up the skin of the nectarine and eat it.
Good God. What are you, like
Does anybody else see how fricked up that is?
God, Lemony Snicket's like unfortunate events kind of thing. Like that is terrifying.
Yeah, I honestly, whoever that is, sorry, sir, your wife needs to.
What if
she needs help.
What if she is just like trying to instill the most amount of fear in her husband? Like, you're never leaving this. Because guess what?
This is what I'll do to your scrotum.
Yeah, you're full on nectarine, brother. Like that dude goes to bed every night with just nightmares. Like that's terrifying.
It is strange enough though that I kind of want to try it just once, but like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and then take it to the grave. Like,
well, because like it's still just a nectarine, so even though it's a weird process of eating it, it's still like it's not gonna taste bad. It's still gonna taste okay.
And like, look, okay, I'm no stranger to crazy food habits, right? Like for me, like, granted,
Give me yours.
Like, I think I don't know if this is necessarily strange because I do think that some people do it, but like all my food has to be separated, like on a plate.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, especially like around Thanksgiving. Like I don't.
I love mashing it all together.
Yeah, I don't like shit going into different shit. You know, like for me, that's like that. But I think arguably my weirdest one, I hate sliced tomato. I like diced tomato.
Actually, I don't think that's weird.
Right?
I think that's actually like fairly normal.
Like,
I think tomato is very like. There's a lot of juices there.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a very like weird thing.
I'm not joking. On a burger, right? Like if I see a burger, like you know, like there are some burgers that are like it's the California burger and it's got diced tomatoes and guacamole and. If it was sliced tomato, I'd be like, remove the tomato. Mm-hmm. But when they say diced tomato, I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of like pico.
I feel like diced tomato is easier to be uniform, even on a burger, because with tomatoes, the worst part is when you bite into a tomato and like you're biting into the whole burger, you bite into the tomato, but like part of the tomato just hangs on. And so you end up taking like the inside, but leave like the circumference of the tomato.
Right,
and it's just like, okay, this is useless.
I knew a kid in college. Okay, my freshman year at UF, right? Me and the guys on my floor, we all went out to dinner one night, and it was like a pretty standard place. Like you kind of sit, you get your menu. It wasn't like typical like bar food or anything. It was just kind of like an actual place. And I'll never forget this kid. We all sit down, and like I'm thinking appetizers. I'm thinking like what I'm gonna get. This dude just orders dessert. Orders straight off the dessert menu. First thing as we sit down, like where I'm like, yeah,
honestly, nice. When you're an adult, eat fucking dessert.
Yeah, dude.
First.
And
why not?
But the first time I'd ever seen it, I was just like, man, that's wild. Like you're just getting a Mile High chocolate cake, and then he ordered appetizers and entrees. Like after he finished that.
That is honestly like 10 out of 10. So much respect right there.
I remember just being like, wait, are the police about to come in?
Wait, is this allowed? My mom told me that that's illegal.
I remember, I'll never forget the look on the waitress's face. I'll never forget it. And she's like, you want what? And he's like, the Mile High chocolate cake. She's like, now? He's like, right now. And so she thought that was the only thing he was going to eat. And then right after that, he gets like an actual like burger.
I honestly wish we were still in the Great Binge for a second, because I would love to try that out. Like the whole go in first and go.
Yeah, to go see if we can.
Dessert, dinner, appetizer.
And break somebody mentally.
Because like, why the fuck not? I mean, like I get you're a kid. You want to teach a kid that like, okay, there's an order to things. But when you're an adult, yeah, have some fun.
Could you imagine getting off your shift after that and going home and be like, babe, the weirdest thing happened to me today, and just it will consume your mind for a full week. That's terrifying.
All right, one last aside before I get into more of these like weird food eating habits.
Yeah, no, go for it.
I want to just give my weird food eating habit.
Oh yeah,
when I eat yogurt,
okay,
right, like one of those like small like Dannon,
Yoplait, yeah,
like the cups of yogurt.
Okay,
I never use a spoon.
Really?
What I do is
never.
What I do is I lick it out.
You're straight going for it.
And I'll squeeze the sides of it to like push the yogurt up, almost like a Go-Gurt-y kind of
right,
thing.
but no matter what the orifice is, this explains something.
And then you do that, you push it all in and it comes out, but then there's still that little bit that's like left on the sides.
Right, and you get right in there.
And then the finger.
Really?
You scoop the finger around the
Holy
edge.
shitballs, dude. How have I never seen you do this?
Well, because I don't really bring yogurt into the house.
Because you know. You have a Yeti cooler full of ice and yogurt in the back of your truck, in the back of your car. If I ever saw you do this, I'd probably be like, "Are you okay?" I
don't know why. I think it's because I used to do it, and I I don't know. I honestly don't know where
Maybe
it started.
it's you
It was
growing
like
up
laziness of just not wanting to take spoons.
And maybe not wanting to leave Go-Gurt behind. Because, like, eating Go-Gurt as an adult, like, I'm all for it. But, like, you can't eat actually, doing what you're doing in public would probably get you, like, bear maced. But
I'd honestly be better off, like, going around, walking down the street, eating a Go-Gurt.
Like, oh man, dude, like do
I
that.
I haven't had yogurt in so long because I know that, like, where am I going to eat yogurt?
Yeah, you do that in an airport, you're on the no-fly list, like, for life, dude. This psychopath.
I almost feel like I should have held off on that until after I finished with the Reddit thread because I feel like now there's no going up.
I'm not sure what's going to touch that.
This one's actually kind of interesting. I turn the fork/spoon upside down in my mouth. Like, when it's deep enough for the food to not drop down in my lap, I turn it upside down
to like have it like fall off.
Right. So you like go into the mouth and then you turn the fork or spoon in your mouth and then pull it out upside down.
That's weird. That is weird.
Which, like, I could imagine doing like once maybe, but like every bite.
Well, I guess it depends on the consistency of the food too. Like if you're eating soup and you put the spoon in and then you turn it over, you're almost like waterfalling it in your mouth.
Okay, yeah, that's not really weird. If
For peanut butter, like something thick, like then I can maybe kind of get it because you're trying to like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I think the motion's kind of weird.
I'm thinking of like what if you got spaghetti or like rice?
Right.
Like,
you're just yeah, I don't know. That is
a twist and turn.
That's an odd motion.
This one's really weird. I take the crunchy skin bit off of the chicken from KFC. I eat the naked chicken, which, first of all, please don't call it naked chicken.
Yeah, don't call anything naked chicken.
Ugh. and then I eat the skin.
Okay, so like
they eat the chicken, then the skin.
That's odd. They won't eat it together. You know, it's almost maybe it's one of those where like, you know what? Maybe if I'm feeling like I need to be a little healthier, then I won't go after the skin. But odds are,
well, because I have heard people like peeling the skin off. Like it's still kind of weird, but like not like crazy weird.
Going back,
but then you eat the skin first because like I don't know.
Yeah, that's odd. But going back to naked chicken, just branding on whenever I see like a wings place that's like, yeah, we have naked tenders. I'm like, man, you couldn't have thought of anything else.
Well, there's that
anything
like
else.
Juice. It's not really a juice. I don't like whatever it is, but it's like naked, like the brand. Like
yeah,
naked,
and that's fine.
Iced tea.
That's
what
juice.
makes that any different though?
I don't know, man. Maybe it's
why is it okay for juice to be naked? It's not okay for chicken to be naked, huh?
You know what?
Have you ever seen a chicken wearing clothes?
I haven't seen a chicken wearing clothes.
So every chicken you've ever seen is a naked chicken, isn't it?
I guess, but I don't know. Maybe it's just whenever I see like, never am I inclined to be like, yeah, I want some naked tenders. I don't know. Maybe that like that just doesn't really compute to me. Do you have any others?
This one might be my favorite. I thoroughly enjoy eating in the shower.
Oh,
There's just something so peaceful about eating in a locked room with the sound of water flowing. I just sit on the shower floor and eat whatever I'm having. I've gotten it down perfectly so that neither my phone nor the food gets wet. So he's also bringing his phone in there.
Oh my God, psychopath, dude. I
feel like you've got to get the angle on that perfect for it to even be possible.
I've never heard of somebody eating in the shower. I know people who have shower beers.
I've heard that's a thing.
Like shower beers. I've seen people put their phone in a Ziploc bag and bring it into the shower so that they can have their phone in, which I'm like, man.
Geez, if you can't take a 5-minute break from your phone.
And if you can't take a 5-minute break from watching porn, I mean, come on, let's be honest. What else are you bringing?
What are you watching
phone?
in the shower?
Come on, my dude.
Well, I don't know. If you're bringing food in there and now you're throwing food into the equation, I don't think you're jerking off.
Right?
In the shower
yeah.
there.
Well, okay. What are you watching? Avengers, dude? Like,
I don't know, man.
It's a
maybe
shower.
Maybe he's just like watching some YouTube videos or something. I don't know.
But you know what? Let's not yuck their habit. Let's not yuck their yum sequence. How do we fit food into the shower? I think of ramen. You know, you can make ramen in the shower. Hot water.
Oh, are we? I don't think the idea is to cook it in the shower.
No, but I'm trying to make this work for me. This is for my sanity.
Oh, okay. I feel like cooking the food in the shower is even worse because you're gonna get like the gross, like the water from the shower after it's touched your skin.
Oh God!
I much prefer the idea that he's sitting in the shower. He has the water angled so that it's like hitting maybe like the back, and it's like flowing right down from his back, and so his like front of his body while he's eating is just completely dry, no moisture over there. Because I'm telling you, if I was doing that and a drop of shower water touched, no matter what food it is I'm eating, I'm done. I'm done.
No, it's done. It's over. Could you?
But I kind of want to try it now.
Hey Dan, what are you doing? Oh, I just made this turkey sandwich. Oh, cool. What are you going to do?
I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go take a quick shower. You want to come? No? Oh, okay. No. Honestly, asking, do you want to come? like into the shower is less weird than saying, I'm going to go eat this turkey sandwich in the shower.
Yeah, that's very true.
Honestly, no matter who you're asking.
I think there's very few things that are weirder than bringing food into the shower.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, as weird as it gets, that's Breddit Butter, honestly.
Yeah.
As
you get some weird people on Reddit.
To a T. So that's another Breddit Butter, folks. But we're heading into the main topic, and the title of this episode, Weight Workers.
Woohoo.
Weight Workers.
Weight Workers.
And so this is
WW for short.
WW. We're taking the branding back.
Yeah.
But I think with Weight Workers, we wanted to cover this for a bit now. We had this topic on our big board, and it's something that obviously you and I have dealt with as we've become adults, is being big in the workplace. Just everything. It's not just the hiring aspects and the image that it presents, but it's also like, how do you
get... I think there is that part of it,
too.
No.
I think that's a lot of it, but it's not just that. It's also like interacting within an office setting while being big. Like, what are the things you kind of have to avoid, things you kind of have to use to your advantage, a lot of things like that. And I kind of want to start with you as someone in your education field, right? Being a big person. Was your weight ever really top of mind when you're working with kids in a classroom and like how it was going to reflect on you?
So I guess I'll just start from the beginning with like the hiring conversation, because I know that in a lot of jobs there is also that concern of like, is that going to affect me getting hired? I don't think I ever felt that kind of concern, just because I've seen so many overweight teachers that I know it's not exactly one of those.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a barrier.
It's not like when you're working for Abercrombie and they're like, But yeah, so there was a part of it that did kind of feel like, you know, you want to be this role model, but then like you're also dealing with these like issues of, for me, I mean, the weight was just the visible symptom of my actual issue, which was mental, you know, so there was that aspect of like, you want to be a good role model. You don't want to, you know, obviously you don't want any of them to know exactly how much you eat.
Right, exactly.
Because if they could see how much I ate,
and kids
there would be a huge problem there.
The way I always looked at it for you, especially on the outside looking in, is it was easy for us at camp because like everyone was big at camp. So being big counselors, big campers like that. But for you to be in a classroom with students, kids can be vicious. Like, was that ever a worry for you that like your kids were ever going to talk shit or like use that against you?
I mean, here's the thing, and this is going to sound bad when I say it, but just bear with me here.
Okay.
So 12-year-olds can be vicious, yes.
Right.
But I feel like if I had to, I could be more vicious.
Oh, geez. You could, yeah.
I've been fat for a while. Yeah. I've developed the thick skin.
Yeah, literally.
They haven't yet.
Just like one subtle jab. But I think it...
but like realistically, it's just like, oh, you think that's funny? Okay, detention. And I think that that's really like, I get the last laugh.
Right,
there.
exactly. Like you always kind of have the card like ready to play. But
right, so that didn't really concern me. I will say that one thing that did affect me is that like, there are a lot of kids that that obese kids, childhood obesity is a big thing. And, I don't quite remember when I was that age. I definitely was like overweight. I don't think I was like to the point of like obesity at that age.
Right.
But also it gives me a very soft spot for those kids because I kind of like see them and
you see a little bit of yourself in them.
Not only do I see a little bit of myself in them, I also just feel bad for them because at that age, 12 years old, like it's not a product of anything that they're doing.
Yeah,
they don't have a choice yet in their lives. So it's almost like they're just like poor, unfortunate souls who just happen to be put in this position where they're starting behind, they're just starting off behind.
So for you in the workplace, you have like an extra focus kind of dedicated to be like, I get it.
Yeah.
When you look at those.
And I always do go out of my way because I feel like it is just a thing in general that there is not a purposeful, but just like this unconscious bias against fat people and just more towards just attractive people in general.
Well, I think that's a good point that you bring up because, I mean, you weren't worried about being hired when it came to your weight, but believe it or not, so this study, right, from Crossland Solicitors, they did a study that showed that 45% of employers are less inclined to hire obese people. So like that's a significant stat right there. The more damning one is a study from Eastern Kentucky University. Obese men earn $2 less per hour than their normal weight counterpart. Obese women earn $4 less per hour. than their normal weight counterpart. This is that's hard numbers right there.
And that's where I do feel blessed and privileged to be in a field where, as like a public worker with like union protections, like there are a lot of things that are not as much of a concern for me when it comes to like my weight in the workplace that I think a lot of people do feel.
And I think that so many people aren't lucky when it comes to that, because here's the thing, in corporate America, where it's all about your merit, I mean, for the most part, but people look at you.
That's where it's a real problem, right? Because they can say like, "I'm not going to hire you." Why? Because you're fat.
Well, and they can't explicitly say it, but like the
can't they though? They could if they wanted to.
The
right?
outlying factors.
There's no thing that stops them from discriminating.
They can't literally say because you're fat, because that just opens up at least the idea of a lawsuit. But what they say is that I don't believe you possess the abilities to carry out the job in the way that you can. Like there are office jobs that are just like that say requirement must be able to lift 30 pounds. Do you know how many times, like at my job, very rarely have I ever been in a position where I've needed to like lift something over 30 pounds. You know what I mean? Like there are
also that was never a problem for me, even at my fattest.
Oh no, I know, but like just the fact that these physical monikers for jobs that don't really need it, there is, because it's an image thing. People look at. I was always nervous picking out interview clothes.
Yeah,
picking out interview clothes is one of the most high stress things for big people of all time, because you're not just thinking like, does this match? You're thinking, do I look
presentable?
Right. Do I even just look presentable? Like, do I look like I'm going to sweat right through this thing? We sweat by existence.
And I'm so glad you went to sweating, because this was the most self-conscious part for me my first year teaching, because in the school, they like crank the heat up during the winter.
Yep.
You know, for good reasons. But I sweat for existing.
Exactly.
So the classroom was always boiling. What I did last year was I literally just opened up all of the windows in my classroom, even when it was 0 degrees outside. Right. And the kids would walk in and they'd be like, "It's cold." And for an entire, like for 3 weeks straight, I would be like, "You go to your locker, you get your sweatshirt before you come into my room.
You're coming into the tundra, baby."
And the first couple weeks, because they're not supposed to go to their lockers without like a pass,
but you
the
would
first
let
couple
them.
weeks I would let them go. And then after that, they would just come in, and then like 10 minutes into class, they'd be like, "I want to go get my sweater." And I was like, "We've been doing this for a month.
Yeah, you
should.
At
this point, you know. You're gonna deal with it tomorrow. Come in with your sweater."
I'm not joking. There would be times where I would pick interview clothes, and I would know that a shirt, like I was just like, if this interview gets hot, like you're fucked, because you just know you're gonna sweat right through it. And I'll never forget. I'll never forget it too. Okay, so I had an interview in Boston.
Yeah.
Right. I had an interview in Boston, and I was early for it, but there was like a Starbucks next door. Right. So like I'm there, and I'm in like just a blazer, khaki pants, white button-up shirt. Right. So what happens is I'm at the Starbucks, and I'm drinking my, like, I ended up getting a hot chocolate because I'm a child. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden the lid kind of fucked up a little bit.
Oh no.
Right on the blazer.
Oh no.
Right on the blazer. So I'm out of a blazer now. Cause you know what you do there. You don't try and laugh it off. You ditch the blazer.
Yep, you gotta.
And so like I had to go into the lobby of the place I was interviewing and ask the guy who was like the doorman, like at the desk, and be like, "Can I just keep my blazer behind this desk and pick it up on my way out?" Guy was super cool about it, right? But
Okay.
You're already starting to get nervous.
So now you're sweaty.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get sweaty, and I'm in a white button-up, and I'm just like, God damn it, like, this is not a good look.
No.
So then I'm like, you know what? Just, like, calm down, catch your breath. It's going to be okay. Elevator's broken. Elevator's broken.
See, that's when I would throw my hands up and be like, well,
I'm on
this
the
is
corner,
a sign.
I'm on the corner of Congress and High Street in Boston, and I'm like, I gotta take the stairs. So I'm taking the stairs.
How many flights?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was like 4 flights of stairs, but 4 flights.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, 4 flights of stairs for your big guy here. That's no bueno. And I am just like, good God, I can't believe this is happening to me. And then of course, here's the kicker: when you're a big person in a job interview, you're trying to kind of compensate for your energy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're trying to always have...
You're being animated. You're talking with your hands.
Right, because you need to have more energy presented so that they don't look at you and say that this is a low-energy person.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're trying to almost like build yourself a lead. I'm walking up these stairs, and I'm like getting off them, and I'm... like I'm trying to catch my breath in the mini hallway before even walking in there, and the person who was interviewing me walks like right by me into the office, and it's just like, Seth, and I'm like, yeah, no, hey, and I thankfully like pulled it together, but I'll never forget it. The first thing she said to me was like, "Oh, you look different than how you sound on the phone," and I was like, "God damn it!" And for for all these things, it was the worst lead up to an interview afterward.
God.
And I still crushed
You look different than how you sound on the phone.
Exactly. Verbatim, that's what she said.
Is there any possible instance where somebody says that and it's not just like super fucking offensive?
Exactly. I'm like, how do you...
That's always an insult.
What do I do with that? Like, how do I rebound from that? Because you know why, though? That is the perfect...
That's when you go, haha, you look different too. You sound like a nice person on the phone, but you seem like a huge bitch.
Yeah, you're a dick. You're a mean person. But because that's the thing on phone interviews, like you would think that I'm goddamn chiseled, apparently, because I just have the high energy on the phone. And then you come in, I still crushed the interview. I got the job. The job sucked ass, but you know what? That you leave after a few months and then you find the right place that you're supposed to be.
Right.
But like those are the kinds of things that you're navigating through just to get hired.
It's funny too. I just want to go back to the sweatiness aspect for a second, because one of the worst feelings in the world is, teachers, you got to go around, you got to look over a student's shoulders, see how their work's doing. Let me tell you, Seth, the worst feeling in the world is when you are sweating.
Oh, no.
And you look over a student's work, and then as you're reading what they're doing,
a
bead of sweat just drips right onto the paper.
Like a slow motion art film.
And you both look at it, and then the kid looks at you, and this is a 12-year-old, and you're an adult, so you're like, I don't know how to even handle this situation. They're not going to say anything because they're a kid.
Right.
But you're just like, do I acknowledge this? Do I not? And I didn't acknowledge it.
Keep your mouth shut and you get a 95, kid.
But that was a very awkward moment. Another very awkward moment was, second day of school, first year teaching.
Right.
Our school had ordered a bunch of these really nice, comfortable plastic seats that were apparently recommended for elementary schools.
Oh,
so
great.
The weight limit for those chairs.
Not great.
Not great. And I didn't know this, but even the 7th graders were breaking the chairs because they were not very well designed. So you sit on them, you move them in too much a weird way, and then it breaks.
Yeah.
I did not realize this.
Oh, shit.
I'm sitting on one of those desks at a small group on the second day of school, my first year teaching.
Good God. And bam, you are egg on your face.
Fall right down.
Oh, that's so... And you had the pit in you probably could have thrown up in that moment. You probably felt so... I hate that.
Well, and the thing is, a bunch of the kids started laughing, and a couple of the kids, didn't. And, you kind of have to, recognize that, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, objectively, you got to roll with it.
And you have to kind of, laugh at yourself in those situations just to kind of ease the tension there, because what are you going to do? Get angry that a bunch of kids are laughing that you fell?
Yeah. Well,
but it does kind of, it hits me differently than it would hit a teacher who wasn't obese, because... even though it's something that, yes, 12-year-olds break these chairs, so it's not that unusual.
Right.
It also, feels worse as a fat person.
And I think that's why so now, being in the office, especially for me, being in the office, I've had the similar stuff. Chairs are just the common enemy of big people. Even in my office, we have, the gaming chairs, because I convinced, my boss to be we should all get sick gaming chairs. But when I was, super big, around 350, those chairs go up to 280, and and so I would have it all the way up, the chair, and then I would sit, and we'd be in this big collective room, and it would just start slowly going down, and
I hate those,
and we all know, everyone who I worked with knew what the plan was, but thankfully they're very nice enough that they were just man, something must be broken with the chair. And I'm yes,
it's definitely the chair. It's not
the chair. It's not me. It's fine, because I would just sit and it would just be the slow decline, and I'm this is a metaphor. This is...
That's always the worst, because I always do when those chairs are as high up as possible, but then when they do start to do the slide, and you're just well, this is my life now.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that for anyone who's trying to kind of better themselves through their health and wellness journey, and you're working in an office or with any job, we've had listeners reach out to us about how they deal with coworkers and their reactions to their weight loss journey. And I know Mandy out in Nebraska, she's reached out to us every now and again to kind of just ask about how do you navigate this? And I think that I always think personally that it's good to let people in on your weight loss journey in the workplace, because at least then you're setting the foundation on your terms about what you're going through, the compromises you're going to have to make, the sacrifices you're going to have to make. And you know what? If they're with you, that's great. But if not, at least they know you've already done your part in letting them know that this is how it goes, which is why my coworkers were really, really supportive when I was doing the shakes.
Right, like your coworkers all knew about the shakes.
Right.
It's kind of funny because for me, it was almost the opposite, where because of everything being shut down and then summer vacation, like they didn't see me during the
you just
weight
went into
loss
hiding.
phase. They saw me at 3:15, and then they saw me at like 2:30, and they were like, "Oh, whoa!"
They were like, "What happened to you?"
And I'm just and then of course, like I've already talked about this before, but then it's like, "Oh, what's the secret?" And it's like, well,
I know, and then it's tough because like office parties, whether it's in a school, whether it's like someone just bringing stuff in. Offices have a way more food than you think. People just bring stuff in all the time. So it's so easy, especially for us who are masters of sneaky eating, like the true masters of sneak eats. We find a way. It's very tough to discipline yourself. And I think it's always good to have a plan or have the things that you know that you can eat right near you so that you're not like sneaking in to go grab like Sasha's cake that she brought in that you're like, oh man, I wonder who ate 4 pieces of that before noon.
Or like you walk into the main office and you see like 2 full things of Dunkin' Donuts things.
Oh, damn it.
And then you're like, okay, well, I guess we got 2 dozen donuts sitting right here. I might as well just sneak one, but I got to make sure to scarf it down in a weird way so that the video cameras in the hallways don't see me. Because God forbid anybody can see me consume food.
That's super fun. Could you imagine? Hey, Strawberry, could you just come into my office really quick? And then they roll out the TV on like the rolling stand.
Would you like to explain yourself here? Could you tell me what you see? What do you notice about this? What do you wonder while you watch this video play?
What's that powder underneath your nose? And you're like, I swear it's not good. It's powdered sugar. And like they just like bust you for powdered sugar on the donuts. That's like, see, these are the things that we constantly think about in the office. And I know that there are so many people who think about them too.
And granted, I think that like it's very fair for people who don't get who like haven't been through this experience to kind of hear a lot of those things and think, well, that's really like, that's all in your head. Like none of that was like real. Like a lot of the stuff, like, you know,
really, because the numbers would beg to differ.
Well, like you're making. I'm just talking about things like feeling self-conscious about like eating food, walking in the hallway, or something like that. And I feel like yes, you're right that there is a lot that's like about the self-conscious. Like we are the most sensitive to it because we are living it every day.
Exactly.
Somebody sees me like walking down the hallway eating a donut in the hallway. They're not going to be like, oh, that's really bizarre. That's not going to be like the headline of their day. But if I lock eyes with them and go, they gave me like a slightly weird look because they saw me eating a donut in the hallway.
It's constantly on your mind, and it's constantly something that you're worried about. And I think that just speaks to just how much of the mental aspect, and like work is already just such an exhausting process in itself that we can't afford to keep making ourselves even more exhausted.
Right. It's a big weight. It's a big weight to carry.
It truly is. Pun absolutely intended. And so I do think that creating your support system does have it starts in the office too. I think your office support system or your work support system is just as important as your external, like your home support system. I do think that they can be integrated into one, but I think having people who understand that you're on a journey, at least for me, like having people in the loop and people knowing the score of the game did help me a ton, because then I didn't feel like I needed to really justify too much in what I was doing.
Well, and I'll also say I think that works for both of us, because I think that we have a pretty good like social situation going in our offices or in our workplaces where, you know, we are friends with our coworkers.
Yeah, we're well liked.
And, you know, so your mileage may vary there if you go to work and you're surrounded by a bunch of yahoos that you don't want to like talk to at all. Then maybe, you don't really want to get into that with them. And maybe, they aren't a support system for you.
Yeah.
But I think if you're in a positive workplace environment, there's no reason to let that positivity into your health aspect.
Yeah, and I honestly,
weight loss journey or your fitness journey or whatever it is.
And you know what? I do think too that like if you have people who are giving you shit for trying to better yourself at the office, just beat them with your success. Like honestly, at this point, I know it's so hard to like deal with people who are just going to be like, come on, like you don't need to follow it every day. Like people who are trying to get you to treat yourself, honestly,
that's
like
the worst.
Like I cannot stand that. And you know what? You just smile at them. You just say, I'm going to do what I do. It really has no effect on you. I'm just doing this for me. And then you just keep on keeping on, because honestly, some of that success does feel really, really good.
Honestly, it feels better when there is somebody to spite.
Yeah, I know we hate admitting it, but there is definitely something to the I got him. Like, like take that, eat shit.
Yeah. That's a huge motivator.
Oh, it absolutely is. But you know what? That's another main topic down. That's weight workers and folks. If you have any experiences of working, like anything that's helped you, anything that you want to talk through, reach out to us. SFTWSubmissions@gmail.com. But you know what? We're gonna finish in the spirit of what this past week has been, and what these past couple months have been. If not just one big debate. Let's go back to dinner debate. We're going back to dinner debate. We haven't done this in a while, but I felt like it was worth bringing it back after my mind was destroyed on twitter.com. So the other night I was scrolling through Twitter and I see this tweet. I put it up on our Instagram. It was a big hit, but this tweet, it broke. I put in the caption like, well, this broke me. And it truly did, because somebody tweeted, pot pie is just soup with a roof. And I'm not even gonna give like I'm not even gonna give like
blown.
I'm not gonna give like a big like weird like monologue story of how we got here. This is how we got here, and it has ruined me because I really don't know what to think from here.
So where do you lean right now? Are you leaning that yes, it's just soup with a roof, or are you on a no side?
This is why I'm broken. I've kind of never been more conflicted, but I think I kind of do lean that way.
All right.
But then what is pot pie?
Can we now
Yeah.
maybe let's like clarify this a little bit. Should there be a technically in there? Is pot pie technically
No,
soup with-
I don't. I want to read it just the tweet. Like pot pie is just soup with a roof, baby. I don't.
Well, cuz here's what I'm thinking, right? Pot pie is not just soup with a roof, because soup with a roof would be
It sounds like a nursery, right?
soup with a roof. It does kind of like roll off the tongue really nicely. I kind of do like that.
Elf on a shelf, soup with a roof. Mensch on a bench. Like,
But so soup with a roof, right? A pot pie is really more than just a roof, right? It's got walls, it's got a floor, it's a whole gingerbread house. Maybe not gingerbread.
No,
it's
but
a whole bread house.
so in most pot pies, there is crust all the way around and on the bottom, right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Okay.
Because otherwise, I mean, where else is it going to be held?
That's true. Well, because sometimes it's just a tinfoil, like it's a tinfoil pie pan.
But I think it
And
always
then-
does need to have like the crust in there to be a pot pie, because
Right?
you can, yeah, at least every pot pie that I've seen.
And then I guess this also just comes back to too, like it comes
Is pot
down.
pie a cake?
It comes down to a good old fashioned thick check, you know, like how thick is yo pie? Like if you think about it, if it's thick enough, that's not soup. What kind of soup is? Well, actually, I don't. God damn it!
But
Though
like what's
some clam
in,
chowder's pretty thick, and that's a soup.
That is a soup. But my question is, would that be considered like, is that gravy that's inside? Is that sauce? Is it broth?
That's true.
If it's broth, then I would say, yeah, that seems like soup.
Right.
But I almost, it seems like sauce. To me, where I land on it is that pot pie is really like about the stuff that's in it.
True.
It's not about the liquid. Like that's kind of like the extra. And like you could theoretically have like a drier pot pie.
Right.
Right.
Well,
It's really about like the
that-
vegetables
you know what,
and
I
the
think-
meat that's in there.
I think you're nailing it here too.
Right.
Because think about it, when we're getting into this discussion of broth and thick 2Cs, you know, like what are we? I guess like does roux, like if it's a roux, have anything to do with it? You know, like how you put flour and cream and like you create a roux, and that's like a thickening agent in cooking. You know,
Sure.
Yeah, well that's how it works. It's like kind of how you make gravy. Like you
Okay.
kind of make like a little bit of a roux and you thicken it up. And
Is it gravy? Is
No,
that what it is?
no, it's kangaroo. But
no. I'm talking about like what's in the pot pie. Like what is that?
It's
Give me
just
a word to describe that.
bits of kangaroo. No, no, save the kangaroos. But I don't know. That's why I'm scared. I see this tweet and
I
I'm
feel
just
like
like,
this isn't even dinner debate at this point. This is dinner investigation.
right. I truly.
This is like the FBI. Like
Is it just soup with a roof? I almost just wonder if, because like, what would it?
is pot pie just a bread bowl?
Right. I don't know.
Because if it's soup, right? Like let's follow the logic there. If it's soup and it's in this full crust, then is it just a bread bowl with a roof?
I know. See, there's so many different aspects to it because what is the containments inside that thing? And I truly don't know.
But then again, I wouldn't even call the crust bread.
Right. I know. So folks, this one is honestly probably the biggest toss-up in dinner debate history, and it's short
because
history.
neither of us can pick a side here.
We really can't. Is pot pie just soup with a roof?
And if you're gonna say yes, I just want to have like the justification here of like clarify for me specifically: is pot pie about the liquid, or is it about what's in the liquid? What is that liquid? What do we call it? It's not broth.
Right. We've never needed
gravy.
We've never needed your responses more than on this. But if you write into us on any platform and with your justification, we want to get this solved on the next episode.
And you know what? On the next episode, we'll throw some of those out there, and the dinner debate will be between you folks.
Right. Exactly. We're going to turn the tables on you all so we can stop being called dumb. But that is going to be another dinner debate, and honestly, I really don't know where we go from there. I don't know how damaged we are, but
let's just go to closing thoughts.
We're just going to come out the other side, but yeah, we're going to go into closing thoughts, and honestly, this has felt so much better to just after this whole past week, and I know we're still going to be seeing the effects of the election in the coming days when this episode comes out, but this whole week felt like such a blur that it never felt better than to record an episode and just kind of detach for a second.
Now, here's what I'm going to say, because I do have something about the election that I did want to mention.
Yeah, absolutely.
So last episode, we ended our episode with a call to action. We wanted you guys to go out and vote.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that we're the reason why, but this was the highest turnout election in United States history. So all I'm going to say is... sorry for the wait, save democracy.
So is that sorry for the wait is responsible for the biggest voter turnout?
I mean, think about it. In every election before sorry for the wait, low turnout, low turnout, low turnout. Sorry for the wait tells people to vote, highest turnout ever. It's a record.
Oh man, you're such a dick. Yeah, no, it's us.
It's us.
Yeah, no,
it's us.
It's
us. The sorry for the wait effect.
That's canonical now. It's in canon, so really nobody can take it away from us because I don't see any other podcast saying that they're responsible for it. So,
no.
And if anything, we've learned.
If anything, I'll claim victory.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah, no, and you know what? We're gonna claim the end of this episode. So, folks, we want to thank you for listening to another episode of Sorry for the Wait. If you want to write into us, SFTWSubmissions@gmail.com.
And then make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, MySpace, Friendster, and Vine.
Yes, and Vine. Rest in peace, Vine. And then tell us about your favorite Vines by leaving us a voicemail, 774-855-9433.
And make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts.
We're up to 160 now, baby. The road to 170 starts now. So
let's see when the number of reviews catches up to like our weight.
That's exactly what we want. But you know what, folks? Until next time, I'm Seth.
And I'm Strawberry.
And remember, keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. But keep your snacks the closest.